A federal judge in Boston has temporarily blocked this government buyout program, at least until Monday. The word comes after roughly 60,000 federal workers, that's a new number, has already accepted the Trump administration's offer. I want to bring in NBC's Ken Dilanian. Eugene Robinson is also back with us, and Lisa Rubin is MSNBC's legal correspondent. Ken, what can you tell us about this decision? It just happened in court, correct?
That's right, Chris. U.S. District Judge George O'Toole in Boston has temporarily enjoined this buyout program because he's allowing both sides more time to make their arguments. One of the federal employee unions has asked for a halt to this program, saying that it's illegal. And of course, as we know, there are many, many questions about this program, including, first of all, whether it's legal, whether the government would have the money to fund it in the event of a government shutdown. Many federal public employees have a lot of questions about it. And yet, as you said, many thousands have signed up for it. It allows people to stay employed and be paid for 8 months if they agree to resign after the end of that 8-month period. So the Trump administration using it in an effort to cull the federal workforce, but a lot of questions and criticism about it. And now this federal judge has put a temporary halt to this program while both sides marshal their arguments for a later hearing. Chris.
Ken, thank you so much for that. What else can you tell us, Lisa?
Well, Chris, one of the things I can tell you is that the claims being made here are essentially that the buyout program amounts to a federal regulation for which they have not given a reasoned basis for issuing. So essentially what the employee unions are saying is this is contrary to federal law called the Administrative Procedures Act because it's arbitrary, it's capricious. We don't understand why they're offering it to us, and therefore you should put a halt to it now. But even if you don't put a halt to it, you should at least force the Office of Personnel Management to justify why they are offering these buyouts to as many as hundreds of thousands of workers. We deserve some clarity on why they're doing it, but also we deserve some clarity on whether or not the government will ultimately be able to fulfill these promises. We've all seen, including through Ken's reporting, some of the question and answers that have been issued to people who have been offered this buyout, none of which necessarily give a guarantee. Senator Tim Kaine, among others, have said, hey, be cautious, federal employees, when you're weighing this offer, because it's not clear that the government can fund these. There's no appropriations, for example, that has been made to fulfill the buyout offer. And so right now, we're pressing pause on it. On Monday, the parties will come back to court having briefed it. And then we expect Judge George O'Toole in the District of Massachusetts, that's a federal court in Boston, to make a longer term decision about the future of the buyout program.
Then what, though? I mean, because this is not likely to end there, do you think?
No, it's definitely not likely to end there. And then I think depending on what his decision is, it's likely to be appealed by one or the other side. We also could see other lawsuits about the buyout program in other areas of the country. Certainly employees in Boston are not the only federal employees in the country who are affected by this. This is a nationwide offer being made to employees of various federal agencies. We know that there are a couple of federal agencies or categories of federal workers that are exempt from this. But for the most part, it applies to federal workers all across the country. So I would not be surprised if we see, for example, other suits in other areas of the country. And that just allows for a process that is like legal dueling banjos, where appeals courts might make different decisions after these are first heard by federal district or trial judges, and ultimately perhaps to the Supreme Court.